Mark, I take it I'm not allowed to touch this? Good afternoon. We're going to get started. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. We are really pleased to be a part of this event and to play a really small role. And we're really pleased to see the room packed. So thank you very much. Just wanted to let you know of a couple of technical things. We have a lot of logistics that will be part of this event today. For those that aren't fully aware, we're actually Ustreaming it online, so people from across, well, actually throughout the world could be watching us right now. I've asked the video camera guy to make me look really thin and tall and young. He says he can't work miracles. But so we're going to have a lot of logistics that are going to be part of the event, and hopefully everything will go really smoothly. So thank you very much for being here. We'd like to take a moment to recognize a few people that are attending. Mayor Dennis O'Keefe, Councillors Frank Gelgay and Sheila O'Leary. We also are very happy to have our Director of Poverty Reduction, Donna O'Brien. So thank you very much for being here. It's my pleasure now to introduce myself. I'm Kimberly Yetman-Dawson, and I'm Director with the Housing and Homelessness Network here in Newfoundland and Labrador. And I'm going to introduce you to Barry Davidson, who's the Chair of Calgary's Community Action Committee. They are the organization that have taken a lead in regards to this event and what's been going on across the nation, and he's going to come forward and tell you a little bit about what's been happening over the last few months. Barry.
Thanks, Kim. And I'm actually 6'4" and much better looking, just so that when this hits the web, we can get away with it. It's interesting, before I dive into this, I'm not sure, I see a lot of people in the room that share my generation. Is that a nice way to put that? And you get used to working with Mark across Canada in the groups he touches, and of course everything's on Twitter or Facebook or social media. So I used to think it was huge disrespect to see a room full of people that were like this. I'm starting to think I'm doing well because it means they're actually firing something out there. So far, so good. So everybody look down, even if you don't have a smartphone, please. It makes me feel better. I'm not going to talk too much about the trip itself because Mark will do a far better job of that. I really just want to thank all of you and talk about timing and everything that we're doing here. This is an amazing day that follows one of the most incredible and history-changing unnatural disasters of our time. And it's a bit ironic that we stand here today to thank Mark and the work he's done over the past 2.5 months, and you'll see some numbers here that are staggering. How many people in this room have driven across Canada? Yeah, not very many, and no matter what kind of holiday that was, whether you had kids or not, it's a daunting task. And he has risen to the challenge, and I think by the time we do send him home, he'll need some rest. But he's done this in direct response to the unnatural disaster of homelessness that we're facing in Canada. And that challenge, I think, has been met. We also stand here today to celebrate accomplishing the task of creating that national discussion, because all of our cities have been working at various levels to implement strategies, procedures, goodwill to try to address this. And we're now recognizing that we have the tools to do it, and if we strategically work together nationally, we can bring about the political will and the resources we need to make that happen. So without going on, and I did have to make notes, I'm under strict orders by Sean and several of my colleagues back in Calgary who can see this, to have notes so that I don't go on forever. To thank you all and to thank Mark on behalf of the Calgary Homeless Foundation and the Community Action Committee and our agencies and our homeless neighbors, because this has given a voice to our homeless out there. It has put their voice in that discussion on the tables, the coffee tables, the kitchen tables, the political meeting rooms, the corporate boardrooms. It has brought this out to a point that we now can discuss strategic plans and solutions. And we now know that those solutions are within reach. And they're not just plans for something we can do, but they're truly roadmaps for something we must do. So thank you for coming out today. It's great to see a good crowd here, and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you very much for your leadership as an individual and also for your organization taking such a strong leadership in this event. Mark's been here for a few days. He's with Invisible TV, and he's been traveling across Canada, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his trip, but I want to tell you a little bit about behind the scenes Mark Horvath. I'm expecting a cane to come out and pull me off. Mark has a heart for people. He has had such an impact on people across Canada and throughout North America. He is world-renowned and has spoken as a keynote speaker at many events. He's been featured in lots of media, Maclean's Magazine, The Globe and Mail, CBC Connect with Mark Kelly, CTV Canada AM, LA Times, CNN, CBS, Mashable, NPR, so on and so forth. He's been a guest speaker as a keynote speaker at Blog World, Gnomedex, South by Southwest, 140 Character Conference, and Nonprofit Technology Conference. And we're really honored to have him here as he travels across the world, really. We're really glad that he could come to Newfoundland and Labrador and present, and that this could be the grand finale of his trip. So he's been going across Canada and taping stories, and people, I've been with him the last few days, and I've really realized that people are extremely honest with Mark. He has a heart, and he shows that to people, and people are very candid. So I'm going to just ask him to come forward. I just also want to tell you about Invisible TV before he comes forward. They've actually had 2.5 million videos that have been viewed, approximately 60,000 videos per month, and the average person spends about 10 minutes on his website, which is pretty amazing. For those that surf the net, I mean, you're bouncing from site to site. So people stay and they listen to people's stories that are experiencing homelessness. And really what we want to do and why we're part of this initiative is that we want more people to understand what the issues are, and we want more people to be creating solutions. So it's my honor now to bring up my friend and colleague, Mark Horvath. Mark.
Thanks, everybody. It's really an honor, and I am so just blown away at the support Canadian people have shown me and actually this conversation. Early on, I fell in love with you. I mean, I think it took about 3 minutes. I pulled into Victoria. It took a little bit to get through customs, trying to explain what I do. But once I was through customs, I was able to really enjoy the culture. And my first CBC interview, I actually asked for asylum. And nobody responded, so please, I hope you can all tweet it out and maybe I get to stay. If you don't know the background and what the foundation of it is that if you're a business and you don't listen to your customers, you go out of business. So InvisiblePeople.tv empowers homeless people to tell their own story because they're actually not only talking about the problems if you listen, but they're also mentioning solutions. So in the true spirit of InvisiblePeople.tv, we don't need to hear me, we need to hear the people on the street. So today I'm gonna briefly just touch some clips of some of the people I met across your great country. Each touching a little subject or topic of the crisis of homelessness. I want to state by no means am I an expert. There's no way I can come into a city for 24 to 72 hours or even a country for 3 months and say I know it all. I don't. This is just to start a conversation. And literally, in the States, this has created housing programs. So it's truly amazing. So let's just get started. Jeff, we're here in Vancouver, Canada. You're out here homeless. Tell me about it.
Tell me about it. Actually, 2 months ago, I wasn't homeless. I was homeless before that. I actually got a job, and I was living with my boss. And the house got broken into, and seeing I'm ex-drug addict, ex-homeless person, I got blamed, kicked out, and canned.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you're homeless, you got a job, place to stay. So now how long have you been out on the streets this time?
I've been back out here about a month now.
Wow, where'd you sleep last night?
I slept outside of London Drugs on 42nd and up by Kerrisdale.
Tell me, what is the day like?
What is my day like? Depends. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Pretty much invisible. Yeah, I don't know. It's same old now. I've been doing it for so long. I've become feral.
How long have you been doing it?
Other than the 2-month break, it's about 6 years.
6 years you've been on the streets.
Yeah, I consider myself feral. I had a hard time when I had a place sleeping inside and sleeping on a bed because I felt caged.
Well, what would you want people to know about homelessness?
About homelessness? we're not all the same. There's people out here who have university degrees, there's people out here who got problems, people out here who've overcome their problems but just can't get that step up. And I find people just paint us all with the same brush. We're all drug addicts, crackhead, thieves, right? But like, people who panhandle aren't thieves because they're out here spending their time panhandling. If we're stealing, we wouldn't be bothering to panhandle. I'd make 10 times as much stealing from people's homes.
They're real people.
You know?
If you had 3 wishes, what would they be?
What would they be? That's a good one. I don't know. 1, not to be homeless. 2, that the system would be changed so people like me don't end up where we are and stay where we are. And 4, I don't know what my 3rd wish would be. For everybody else to get their wishes.
Yeah. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Hey, no worries, man.
Jeff said some great stuff. The most important to me, and I hear this a lot, is some people will say, oh, I want to be homeless, or they want to be there. And what they do is they hit that wall of bureaucracy. It's called learned helplessness. So we need to work really hard to keep people from Jeff where they start feeling comfortable on the streets. Nobody should be comfortable in homelessness. It's just horrible being on the streets.
Anymore. So I called a mover, got our storage locker, and moved, and just got it all out. Hit the street, and I'm still sitting here, and I'm waiting for that building up at 16th and Dunbar to be completed. And first they said it's April, then they said it's June, then they said it's July. Now it's November, and they promised me that I would not spend another winter out here. And I'm just going.
What's that building? I'm not from here.
It's at 16th and Dunbar.
So.
And so it's a nice building. It's under construction. They got about 3/4 completed.
What, is it low income housing or something?
Yeah, it's BC housing. That's right. So it's like it's 400 square feet, $380 a month, basically is what it is. And I'm going, oh well, thank you. I mean, get me in there, get me off that street. I'm telling Jody this, and I said, if anybody attacks me out here, I'm going to have to defend myself. Because, you know, I got a spot to sleep over in the back alley over there. And it's a commercial establishment. I watch their vehicles, their back door, and all this stuff. And they let me sleep there. There's no money exchanging hands.
Right.
I'm just there.
Right.
So, you know, that's a fine arrangement. But how long can that go on?
Right.
You know? It's
Well,
like,
you were talking about people dying, that people are dying.
yeah,
out
I'm
here.
talking about dead people I know that have already died, and now we got another 2 on the plate, right?
So people are, I mean, it's, you know, several of your homeless friends are in the emergency room.
They're in and out of emergency, but there's at least 2 we're talking about. You know who they are, Danny and Tommy. Yeah. They're up next. I'm telling you, they're gonna die. And there's other cases we don't know about. There's a guy named Chad. He was a native guy. He looked pretty healthy. You know him? Yeah. And he killed over. He was with his girlfriend, wife, whatever, Diane, you know?
Sure.
And she was pretty shook up already. I thought, man, she's walking with a cane, she's lost one eye, and she's pretty sick looking, you know? I was worried about her. And then he died. And Chad was a friend of mine. I liked him. He was a nice guy.
How many friends have you had that died in the last year?
In the last year, I'd say conservatively 6.
Wow.
But it could have been a couple more. But it's going to continue.
Right.
And you know what? That building up in Dunbar, they have 51 units going in there. And I was talking to Joe Dean, and I said, you got 51 units there. I said, can you guarantee me that I'll get into one? There's nothing confirmed.
Right.
Nothing. 0. You can't even contact them.
So what's your future like?
My future, it's by the grace of God.
I really love when I meet people like Steen, and he, you know, I mean, 6 people in his circle at a conservative estimate died. And they're going in and out of emergency rooms. And now who's paying for that? We all are. I mean, we pay for that. So